we'll call to order and start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have anyone that wants to, well, let me read this real quick. Just open forum. In addition to public comment on agenda items, the commission offers an open forum whereby citizens may comment on governance issues over which the city of Nacogdoches has domain. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, members of the commission shall not discuss, deliberate, or make any decisions on topics not posted as an agenda item. Speakers should address all remarks to the commission and limit your remarks to no more than 3 minutes. Is there anything anyone would like to address that's not on the agenda tonight? Moving on to consent agenda number 4, approval of the minutes. Consider approval of the minutes from the April 14th, 2025 meeting. We'll entertain a motion when ready. And if any discussion on it. Thank you, Amy.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as printed.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say same. Okay. Moving on to 5A, regular agenda. Discuss and consider action on zoning case ZON 2025-04 regarding a zone change from R2 Single Family to B2 General Business District on 4 parcels of land approximately 2 acres plus or minus in size, more particularly described by Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District parcels 24134, 24135, 24136, and 32772, and from B1 Local Business to B2, General Business District on 4 parcels of land approximately 1.44 acres plus or minus in size, more particularly described by Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District parcels 32768, 32769, 32770, and 32771, and is generally located on the north side of West Seal Street near the property located at 803 West Seal Street. Mouthful. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. Juan Paulette, Interim City Planner. Before I begin, I just want to point out that this item and the next one are both submitted by the same applicant, Mr. Clem Russell of Bright Coop Incorporated. Because there were multiple zoning actions on this request, we decided to split the request into 2 separate items to make it easier to follow. This item addresses the properties on the north side of West Seal Street, which primarily are used for employee parking area. And the next item primarily focuses on everything on the south side of West Seal, which is where the main office area and the manufacturing area are located. So these parcels are located on the north side of West Seal and are consist of 8 parcels totaling approximately 3.4 acres. They are currently being used for employee parking. The adjacent area is zoned single-family and industrial and is developed primarily with single-family homes except for light industrial use south across West Seal Street. Of the 8 subject parcels, 4 are currently zoned R2 single-family and 4 are zoned B1 local business. The applicant is requesting to rezone all 8 parcels to B2 general business to comply with the current zoning regulations and the existing use. Per the 2003 Nacogdoches Comprehensive Plan, the future land use plan designates the subject properties as single-family residential. This future land use plan category is described as conventional one-family detached dwellings, which also include duplexes. So although the future land use plan designation does not align with the requested B2 general business district, The request change reflects current longstanding use of the properties as employing parking for Bright Coop. And here's some pictures of the employee parking area. And then some adjacent properties to the east and west of the parking lot. This slide shows the types of uses within the 200-foot notification area. Staff sent out 24 public meeting notices to those property owners and 31 notice postcards to property owners within 200 and 500 feet of the subject property. Staff has received no written responses in opposition or in favor of the request. Staff also coordinated a neighborhood meeting for the property owners within 500 feet on April 16th, and 4 of the neighboring property owners attended the meeting with concerns that their properties were also going to get rezoned, and once we clarified that, they didn't have a problem with the request. Staff believes that although the request does not meet some of the conditions for approval, given the long-standing industrial presence of the area and existing use of the property, the request may be considered a reasonable deviation that aligns zoning with current use and allows for standalone parking. And I'll be happy to answer any questions after the public hearing.
Oh, never mind, sorry. Okay, we'll open it up to public hearing, or public comment, if anyone has anyone to address this matter. Jerry, you want to talk about it? No.
No comments.
No comments. We'll close and open up for planning zoning discussion. I think this is a matter of cleanup, right? We're just trying to clean up,
Yes.
conform, get it right. It's been there forever and just need to get it
Make sure-
labeled the right way.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Juan, if we rezone this, do they have to meet any of those other conditions that are required? You know, if it triggers a change, essentially like buffering, lighting.
Correct. If they decide to do any other changes to what the current use is right now, they would have to meet changes. For example, the parking lot, because it's adjacent to residential, they would have to bring it up to current standards where it would need to be a wooden fence
Okay,
as well as a landscape buffer
okay.
if any changes are made.
But currently, the applicant's just requesting that it stay parking?
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing's going to change.
Okay.
My guess is they've been there since when?
1950.
51, I believe.
51, yeah,
Long time.
a long time.
Okay, those are my questions.
Any other questions from the group? Okay. I'm making a motion to approve as presented.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say same. Okay. Moving on to 5B, the second part of this. Bear with me. Got to read it out. So, discuss and consider action on zoning case ZON 2025-05 regarding a zone change from R4 multifamily to I1, light L1, excuse me, right?
No,
Yeah.
I won.
I1, yeah, okay. Light industrial on one parcel of land approximately .8 acres plus or minus in size, more particularly described by Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District parcel 77103, and from A, agricultural to I1, light industrial on 7 parcels of land approximately 3.4 acres plus or minus in size, more particularly described by the Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District parcels 28784 and 78740, and from R2 single family to I1, light industrial on 3 parcels of land approximately 3 acres plus or minus in size, more particularly described by Nacogdoches County Appraisal District parcels 81014, 32737, and 32738, and is generally located south of West Seal Street near property located at 803 West Seal Street. Mr. City Planner?
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Juan Paulette, interim city planner. So this zone change request covers 11 parcels located at or near 803 West Seal Street. The area includes Bright Coop's main office and primary manufacturing facilities. Coop has gradually expanded its operations in this area since 1951, and the proposed zone changes correspond with the current use of the site. The adjacent area is zoned with a mix of single-family, two-family, multifamily, commercial, and agricultural uses. Most of the property is located at or near 803 West Seal Street. Is currently zoned light industrial, which is appropriate for the existing uses. At the southwest end of Reedy Street, west of the main property zone light industrial, Coop owns one parcel zoned R4 multifamily and 7 parcels zoned agricultural. East of the main property zone light industrial, Coop owns 3 smaller parcels zoned R2 single-family residential. In order to create a cohesive zoning designation that reflects the existing and intended uses of the property, the applicant is requesting all of these parcels be rezoned to light industrial. Per the 2003 Nacogdoches Comprehensive Plan, the future land use plan designates the west half of the subject properties as rural development and the east half as single-family residential. While these designations do not align with the requested light industrial district, the requesting zoning is consistent with Coop's adjacent industrial uses. Staff finds that this request is not in compliance with the future land use plan and the stated goals of and objectives of the 2003 comprehensive plan. However, considering long-established industrial use of the site and the adjacent zoning and development patterns, this request may be viewed as a logical zoning adjustment reflecting of existing conditions. The picture on the left shows the main office area and manufacturing plant, and behind that is where the 3 single-family R2 lots are located. The picture on the right is the southern end of Reedy Street, which is where the 1 R4 multifamily lot is located, as well as the 7 agricultural lots are located.
Are they all empty?
The agricultural lots are empty, yeah, as well as the multifamily, yeah, they're all empty. This slide shows the types of uses within a 200-foot notification area. Staff sent out 28 public meeting notices to those property owners and have received no written responses in opposition or in favor of the request. Staff combined the neighborhood meetings for the previous item and this one on April 16th, and there was no opposition. Staff believes that all of this request does not meet some of the conditions for approval. The proposed zoning brings these properties into alignment with the adjacent industrial zoning and operations, eliminates zoning inconsistencies, and reflects long-standing development pattern use in this area. And I'll be happy to answer any questions after the public hearing.
Thank you. We'll open it up to public comment. Do we have anyone joining remotely? Probably not. Okay. We will close to public comment and open it up for commission discussion, if any.
I just have some questions, I'm sorry. I'm the question asker. So, this area, of course, that Coop's been here for a while, and we want to actually do it to industrial light. In the future map and what we want to do for the city, have we discussed anything about this area? Because clearly they take a lot of area for this very awesome company that's here and has been here for a while and will employ our citizens in Nacogdoches. And so, as they continue to grow, is it looking like we will be doing more of this type of zoning within this area?
I believe in this particular area, that's about as far as it's going to get.
Okay.
You have, close to the loop, you have the commercial area and some industrial in that area, which could continue to grow, but I don't think it's going to go any further north into the residential area.
Okay, and do you know what the intended use for those parcels are? Are we putting offices or?
Mr. Russell is here. He can probably best answer that or shed more light on
Sure.
it than I can.
Well, we don't have any intended use for it other than what it's being used for now. The 7 lots that are west of Reedy Street, we acquired 3 of those some years back, and if you're familiar with Bright Coop, you will understand it's a result of accumulation over the years.
Absolutely.
Just buy another lot, and so, the lady that owned these 7 lots, retained 4 of them because she had a house on it, and she rented that house, but, sometime back it burned down, and so she called and wanted to know if we wanted to buy those lots, and we really didn't have a need or a use or a purpose for them, but we did acquire them just as a buffer, if you will.
Okay.
So there was some rubbish on it from the burned house.
Sure.
There was actually some garbage on it that had been dumped, and so we would like to clean that up, and we have cleaned this, I've got it, some of it piled. I understand there may be a opportunity that we can acquire a burn permit to get rid of some of that stuff. If we can't, we'll haul it off or whatever we have to do, but
Sure.
but we don't have any use for it, though, other than we just want to fence it to keep intruders off and just to have it.
Okay.
In the future, should something ever require, maybe we might use it just to store manufacturing materials,
Sure.
steel or whatever on. As is the case with the lots over east of our main property, close to the Home Avenue area, and that's what we do with it now. We have a trailer plant, and you have to understand it takes 40 acres to turn one of these 53-foot trailers around, you know.
Right.
So we have to have a considerable amount of room. But it takes axles, suspensions, and steel, and so that's where we store these things. We don't have it paved, it's just grassed. We keep it mowed, and we think we have good neighbors. We try to maintain a good relationship with the neighbors and cut trees if they want a tree cut, or fix their fence or whatever. And so I think that's one of the reasons we had no opposition at our neighborhood meeting. So if you're familiar with Bright Coop at all, if you were to drive through there now, and the intentions 5 years or still be the same. So
Okay.
really nobody would see any difference. It's basically like the other, just a cleanup. And it started out with when we acquired these last 4 lots on Reedy Street, and Glenn Hoffmeyer, the surveyor, went over there to survey it out, and he called me and wanted to know if we ever got the city to quit claim the Reedy Street, because Reedy Street goes, it's only paved for a ways, and then it stops and it goes on down.
Right.
And when we bought the first 3 lots, I went back and looked, and I'm not sure. Did you ever find anything on that, Mr. Newman?
It's just what we provided you is what we had. As far as the quitclaim, the previous quitclaim,
Yes, sir.
so we would be generating a new quitclaim for the remaining portion.
Okay, so, but when we did that, we began to, I came up to meet with the city to file a application, I guess you would call it, to
Right.
get those lots rezoned from ag use, and that's when we discovered that some of these other lots were not in compliance with the use that they should be. And again, I've inherited, and just a quick story, not to take any time, but several years ago, Mr. Bright, Charles Bright, was still alive, and he and I had discussions about transitioning this company into the future, you know, with folks that were there. And so one of the things we needed to do was to get all of these lots into Bright Coop, because some of these lots were in the name of N.G. Bright, some were in Charles Bright, some were in Charles and N.G. Bright, some were in Bright Coop Company. And so we gathered all of this information, took it to an attorney, Mr. Billy Early, and he got all of that transitioned into Bright Coop Incorporated. And I honestly thought everything was in compliance until and so we appreciate you folks' willingness to work with us on that. Like I say, we hope we're there next next year will be 75 years that we've been in business there.
Well,
That's awesome.
We hope we
Thank
have
you.
75. Any more questions?
no, thank you for answering that, Mr. Russell. I ask because of just, traffic patterns and things like that that we have to
Right.
be acknowledging, but I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And incidentally, we just operate one shift over there.
Okay.
We've tried to run 2 shifts before, and we did have some complaints from neighbors that you're making too much noise or that light shining in my bedroom window, so we just
Sure.
give it up and we just run one shift.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Russell.
Thanks, Mr. Russell. Any other questions?
Okay, I vote to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say same. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Russell. I think
Thank
that's
you.
it. Moving on to Agenda 5C, public hearing, discuss and consider action on zoning case ZON 2025-06 regarding a zone change from B1 local business to R1 single-family district on 3 parcels of land, approximately .74 acres plus or minus in size, more particularly described by Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District parcels 28220, 28221, and 28222. And generally located on the north side of East Austin Street, west of the intersection of East Austin Street and Appleby Sand Road. Mr. City Planner.
Thank you, Chairman. Juan Paulette, interim city planner. So these properties are located on the north side of East Austin Street, near the intersection of East Austin and Appleby Sand Road. The 3 parcels total approximately 3/4 of an acre. The properties are currently undeveloped, and the applicant, Gary Stripling, plans to subdivide the parcels to create a uniform lot widths and construct single-family homes, 3 single-family homes. The area is primarily zoned single-family, with B1 local business to the north and southwest corners of East Austin and Appleby Sand Road. Per the 2003 comprehensive plan, the subject properties are single-family residential. Single-family residential future land use plan category is described as conventional one-family detached dwellings that also include duplexes, and R1 meets this comprehensive plan designation. This is a view of the subject property from Appleby Sand Road, and some of the adjacent property to the west and to the east. That's the plant shed. And this slide shows the types of uses within the 200-foot notification area. Staff sent out 11 public meeting notices to those property owners and 30 notice postcards to property owners within 200 and 500 feet of the subject properties. And staff has not received any written responses in opposition or in favor of the requests.
Surprising.
And staff believes this request meets the conditions for approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions after the public hearing.
Thank you. We'll open it up to public comment. Mr. Stripling, you want to give us a long diatribe of something? I'm kidding.
You do know that there's drainage issues on,
I don't
I'm
know
sure
about that
you're
side,
aware.
Maybe the other side, potentially.
The plant shed had a lot of issues with drainage, just letting you know.
City's supposed to be taking care of that. Got these down the back of the property.
That's good. Because you might get some angry people from the behind, but, yeah. But it's got to do something.
If no one wants to address, we'll close and open it up to commission discussion. Any discussion?
Nope, aside from that drainage issue. We're warning you. We've dealt with some angry people before.
Sure, and I'll go ahead and update the commission on the drainage.
Okay,
Mr. Stripling is working and has been working with the city on allowing the city to secure some easements from behind those properties. We are in design on some drainage facilities, not only in that area, but also to the north of the plant shed around that corner to prevent some of that drainage from just getting into those properties underneath, which it has for many years. And it's going to require some significant improvements. The city has funded some bond money for that. So we're in the process of design, and Ms. Stripling's been supportive on the easements.
great.
That's
Thank you
great.
so much for the
I know, I
update.
mean, those folks, there is a bad drainage problem on
Yeah.
Colonial, so it's good to hear getting it fixed for them. I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Well, second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say same. Moving on to 5D, consider amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Nacogdoches, Texas, including Chapter 118 zoning, Article 2 administration, Division 4 amendment procedure, and to require pre-application meetings for all zoning related changes, require a minimum 15-day notice for public hearings, clarify zoning designation procedures upon annexation, sorry,
Big word.
clarify the city council's authority to impose conditions on certain zoning actions and improve organization and clarity of the chapter. Mr. and Ms. Stripling, take care.
Thank you,
Good seeing
guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Mike New, Executive Director of Development and Infrastructure. This is another action, one of many we've taken, also one of many to come, that is a culmination of discussions that we were having within our zoning ordinance subcommittee. I want to continue to show this slide, which basically goes back to August of last year when Council and P&Z held a workshop on what was discussed, a number of potential changes and updates to our code. Since then, we've taken several actions related to Board of Adjustment, different zoning ordinance chapters, restrictions and regulations that we didn't have before, smoke shops, signage, a number of things. Subcommittee has met now, I think, 4 different times, and we'll continue to meet about once a month as we climb through these changes. In addition to that, we are posting on our website as these changes are recommended and subsequently approved by the council. We are tracking these so that we can ensure that any applications that come across development services are able to meet our obligation in how we assign land uses and then propose and guide applicants through the development process. Tonight's recommendation or request for recommendation from the commissioners is for just a number of changes to our amendment procedure section. The most significant one, I think, is the very first one. It's adding a new section for pre-application conference. We've also called it pre-development meetings. This is codifying something in practice that we have been doing even preceding my time here just over the last several months. But this is essentially requiring a meeting of zoning applicants to meet with city staff before they go out and spend money potentially on other due diligence efforts and seek certain requests and pay money for applications to determine feasibility of their request. If they are proposing a particular development project on a site, or if they are looking in a particular area for whatever reason they have to do so, staff is providing guidance to those applicants on whether or not those land uses actually match, on whether or not the conditions within an area are conducive to the interest of the developer. So it's all in an effort to, one, make staff aware of some of the interest that is out there, and two, avoid dollars being spent either on the city's behalf or on the applicant's behalf before a project starts going down that development process. We have found it extremely useful in our cases, but we did want to make sure that that was something that was required to avoid any maybe missteps in that process. And applicants today can certainly choose not to pursue that, but we found it helpful enough that it's important for this particular procedure, at least within development services. In addition to that, we have wanted to make consistent with some of our other code and notification processes, the notice of public hearings, changing within our zoning code, notice of planning and zoning commission hearings from 10 days to 15 days. That aligns with our city council. Annexation is another important one where we may not be in a situation where cities, any city in Texas or even Nacogdoches today can easily annex other parts around in our ATJ. If we were, we would establish a default zoning district of agricultural and then require a separate action for any zone change request. It's a very common practice in many other cities around Texas. We're simply clarifying that would be 2 separate actions if that were something that came across our desk today. In addition to that, it's a lot of smaller changes, but clarifications to how conditions may be imposed by council on planned developments and specific use permits, which doesn't necessarily apply to other zoning change requests. And then criteria and how conditions for approval are determined for any zoning-related case. We did want to make clear that it didn't necessarily apply to zone change requests only. It did apply to things like specific use permits and plan development. So we did create a little hyphenated section there of zone-related requests to make sure that those criteria are applied in all cases. And then just simply moving some of those, if you see big chunks of red line under specific use permits, because it is repeating information that's in other sections of this chapter. So simply just trying to clean up some other areas of our code. And I'll be happy to answer any questions after the public hearing.
There's no one else here, so no public comment. So,
No public to comment.
I'm sorry? Oh,
Officially just open and close it.
yep, I'll open it up for public comment. Unless Casper is going to come up here and speak, so I'll close it to public comment. This, mine's more of a comment than anything else. This pre-application conference, it seems it's a prudent thing to do. I mean, if I was wanting to do something, I would want to meet and make sure I was on the same page with the city, or.
Most cities would have that.
Yeah, so it seems logical to me.
And Mike, can you walk them through, like, because I know there were some questions in the subcommittee about what requirements were a part of that pre-application meeting, like do I have to have plans already drawn out and things, but.
No, in practice, so this wouldn't put any additional burden for an applicant to prepare engineer stamped documents or site plans, for example. They could literally write it on a napkin. The whole process is meant to flesh out a concept or an idea with potential applicants, because this would be pre-application. And then give them a chance to understand the city's process a little bit better. In my experience in other cities of doing this type of pre-development meeting, we haven't had such a large group. We kind of get everyone at the table here in Nacogdoches, which is a great thing for the applicants. They really benefit. There's no cost to the meeting. You're simply scheduling that with staff. We do have certain times of the week where we limit those pre-application meetings or those pre-development meetings. So that's really the only restriction. But staff has benefited just as much, I think, as the applicants have in being able to flesh out some of these things and redirect applicants when it's necessary to either other areas of the city or maybe potential changes in their scope.
It seems,
It's reasonable.
it seems like it may actually help usher the project along even quicker, so.
And in an area, I came from a city that had a very high volume of applications that were submitted for all kinds of development services, and even with that requirement, you had applicants that wanted to skip that step and go ahead and give us a check and send us money, and that it just created more roadblocks, unfortunately, because when we did send back confirmation that a particular zone request or a particular use was not applicable in that area, we've now caused 2 transactions that were unnecessary. So it's those kinds of things, reducing that administrative burden.
I'm presuming the pre-application, the conference could be done by Teams or Zoom or something if needed.
It could be virtual,
Yeah.
and in a lot of cases, we have hybrid participation when folks aren't local. So yes, we've done that.
No, I think it's good. I don't have any questions about anything else. It seemed more just cleaning it up. So. Was there something I missed?
Well, I'm just looking at, so section 118-1434. You said most of these red lines for SUPs are basically striked out because they are iterated again, and they're just cleaning up verbiage, correct?
Correct?
So the computation of time, I was looking at that,
That 180 days.
right? That's already referenced in there. Is it within here?
If you look at Part E on the last page, page 13 to 15,
Okay. Yeah.
we struck that and then established time limit.
Okay. Time limit was also struck. Whereas
So it's on page 11 of.
Yeah, I'm
page
sorry.
11, okay, oh,
Page
got it,
11.
okay, perfect,
Apologize.
okay. Just making sure people aren't confused
Yeah,
here.
Yeah, and we kind of went through the same kind of slow walkthrough with our subcommittee to make sure that they weren't missing anything and we were being true to our red lines.
Yeah, thorough to it. Okay. Awesome. Do you guys have any comments?
Can you kind of give them an indication of the topics we're about to start tackling?
I will in the next item,
Okay.
yes.
I'm jumping the gun yet again.
Bring order in here, order, Z.
I hope somebody's at home. And came in like 30 seconds ago and I'm.
This is
They're gonna
tense.
bookmark that forever.
That's the P&Z gone wild. Yeah, okay, well then my question will be answered in the next item.
Answered shortly, yes.
Where are we with land use? How are we doing?
Next.
We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get
Is
there.
that gonna be answered in the next one too?
So land use, well, I'll get there. We'll get there.
Let's close this one out
Okay.
and then we can kind of open it up.
Got
I
it.
think get more leeway to talk on the next one. Entertain a motion. I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say same. Okay. Moving on to zoning ordinance subcommittee report. And anything anyone wants to?
Commissioners, Mike New, Executive Director of Development and Infrastructure. I will let our subcommittee members as maybe add. I just
Your
want to
turn
kind
now.
of throw this out from the beginning, just a quick outline of discussions to date. Well, most recent discussions to date. So you, at your last meeting, you recommended new definitions for tattoo salon, beauty salon, and body piercing studio. Those have passed. Council did approve those changes. We also discussed amendment procedure, which you've heard tonight. Off-street parking is another one I'll let the subcommittee members speak a little more detail to. And staff, from time to time, we found it useful to bring items that are of, I guess, that come up during our process with applicants, with development issues that we see cropping up around the city. We think this is timely. Maybe we allow the subcommittee to discuss it, and if it's recommended, we bring it forward, even though it didn't fall necessarily within that original scope of items for discussion for the subcommittee. So fences is one of those. Our next meeting is scheduled for May 27, but other items we will be adding to that particular agenda. Solar farms, and I can speak a little bit to it, but we'll wait for discussion. Battery storage, notifications, and tail end of the workshop, again, district development standards generally, non-conforming structures and plan developments. Now you asked quickly if I let our subcommittee members speak to those, any of those items. Future land use is something we're discussing internally. We're having some budget discussions about how we want to tackle that animal. We're also looking with council on a discussion that's dedicated to housing, future of housing, housing inventory within the community, what council wants to prioritize within that umbrella, residential housing in general, which will give us direction on maybe some approaches we can take to updating our future land use plan. Independent of the comprehensive plan, that might be a more strategic approach for us today. I mean, everything you've seen just since I've been here has been somewhat overlapping our future land use plan, and for one reason or another, all legitimate reasons, and we've tried to identify those reasons for you, for your consideration. So future land use is something we are looking to tackle more strategically in this next fiscal year.
Okay.
Oh Lord, that gets way too close to my mouth. And Ruth, correct me if I'm wrong. Mike, feel free to jump in. Juan, you're also, Jerry sits by me at the ordinance thing. I will say, the group has really meshed well with kind of all of our respective views. I know that the topic of off-street parking was, I think the term is ad nauseum. We covered that from every angle, but truthfully, it's an important matter where I think we finally broke some ground as a group where we kind of got to the point of, can you truthfully police this without breaking the bank? One of the things that I think was an exciting development, I think staff is working on bringing us some language, was looking at some substitutes instead of maybe having a number of spaces, but green space within our parking lots.
That's great.
So there was a big, we all agreed we wanted it to look pretty, not just an asphalt top. So there's that. I don't want to overspeak, but I think there's some stuff with parking downtown that the city is really working quite diligently on addressing. Fences was a unique one for me. I didn't realize there's a lot to fencing that I was unaware of.
More than we knew, right?
More than I think at one point we were talking about electric wire counting as a fence, and so some things that I think are pretty necessary conversations to have it codified, but are getting the amount of time they need, anywhere from the material we're going to use to the height to which part of the property you can put the particular fencing product and stuff like that. So
Right now, one of the other things staff kind of briefed them on, and we'll be in more detail briefing the council on as the legislature continues to initiate bills and then discuss bills and then potentially pass bills. There's a lot that can impact cities, from a land use segment to a financial segment, in all kinds of ways. Restrictive, most of them are restrictive, actually. And our discussions and things that we want to change and ordinances we're looking to update at the local level can be preempted by some of those bills. So that doesn't mean we don't continue to talk about them and maybe consider those, but we just wanted to keep the subcommittee and this commission informed that as legislation continues to evolve at the state level and they continue to meet and bills continue to move through that process, there may be some that preempts some of our discussions that happen at the subcommittee level, and some that we may bring forward to you as a result of those preemptions, and all of that kind of plays together. Now, the fences is one in particular where the city's already restricted in regulating building materials for residential property. You're probably aware of that. Fences are a different ballgame, and cities sometimes take that approach to identify building materials for fences to obtain some beautification initiative, and we're kind of that's kind of the umbrella of some of our discussion with the subcommittee. Is the city on one hand is trying to take an approach where we can enforce code and enforce the rules that we have, encourage beautification where we can without being too intrusive, but also what changes can we make in our code to encourage that for new development or infill development, and fences may be one of those areas. So we'll have a couple of other things that we'll discuss. I think we may look at some other topics as they come up, but this is generally what you should see on the next subcommittee agenda, and we'll continue to carry these things forward. And I'm not sure what the timeline is for this subcommittee and how long or how frequent the group will meet. I know there's potentially we may be losing one, but we'll continue to evolve these discussions and bring it forward to P&Z for your consideration as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I was surprised when we were talking about fencing earlier for Bright Coop, about a wooden fence having to be installed instead of a chain link or a screen cover.
Between commercial and residential?
Right. So it's all wooden.
Correct.
Right now, yeah, and not to put them on the spot, they're not even here, but there's about 4 or 5 different types of fence materials surrounding that manufacturing property right now.
It's all
They've
chain
been
link
there a
right now.
long
Yeah,
time.
Well,
it's mainly chain link.
It's chain link with barbed wire. There's some sheet
Yeah.
metal. There's a little bit of wood picket.
Right.
It's just, it varies.
Yeah.
75 years of hodgepodge.
Well,
Duct
and
tape.
you know, I guess welcome to Nacogdoches. It's evolved in some ways on its own, despite regulations or in lack of regulation.
Well, and there probably weren't any regulations when they put up a lot of that fence.
Probably not. So another fine line, right? How do we be respectful of the folks that are here and how they're operating and still usher in improvement?
Well, and that's one thing I appreciate about how the conversation is guided. It's how are we going to do this? How are we going to have expectations and standards without being intrusive on our property owners?
Yeah, I always like talking about beautification in general, you know, to the building materials and a standard that we hold, just so it will look pretty. Because aesthetics matter in a city, you know. So I'm glad that you guys are having discussions and talking about it. Electrical fences within the city limits is really interesting.
Hey, you know, I did not know that that was a thing,
Well,
but
we have a lot of agriculture, and so, you know.
not where
still-
this location was. This was not anywhere you're going to find ag.
Okay, well, that was very good, thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Okay. Anything else we'd like to discuss to add on future agenda?
Well, we need to put Ruth's subcommittee replacement on the next agenda.
Okay. Well, when are you done? When is your?
After June. I'm
After
leaving in
June.
June. I mean, I'll be there for the June meeting, but after that.
And then the
But my
city will
term would have been
replace July
up anyway.
1st.
Yeah.
So there will be,
It'll be a new member. at
Yeah.
least. So, anybody else up to roll off?
I don't even know, I need to check mine. Will you check for me?
I'm gonna look tomorrow.
me too.
Thank you.
I know we got to reapply if we.
I may be wrong, but
you're
I think
good.
y'all may be.
I'm good.
I think we are too.
Yeah,
I think y'all may be.
I think we all three came on together, didn't we?
I think
yeah, I
so.
think so, actually.
Yeah, I hope you all three don't roll off at the same time. That would be an awkward
out.
meeting for me.
Yeah, we'll have to
Nope.
find out.
I think Matt has more experience than me.
We can add it to the agenda to discuss who would take Ruth's place out of the folks that are still remaining.
Which are two.
I already have.
Matt, is Matt?
He just got renewed.
He just got renewed,
Mm-hmm.
so he'll be theoretically could be replacing all of us, but or all three, but one. So okay,
Yeah, we can address that too when the item's presented.
yeah, okay. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, we will adjourn. Time is, Amy, 5:49.